It seems a contradiction, a good God and a bad world.
That doesn't make sense.
And it wouldn't be such a problem if Christians did not insist on such a good God. Suffering would not be so difficult to explain if God was indifferent or distant or clumsy or callous.
I said...
But the Bible insists that God is really, really involved with the world, He's really, really powerful, and He really, really cares about us. So actually, the goodness of God makes the problem of suffering a real problem.
But that's actually a good thing. It's good to have a problem with suffering. The worst thing would be if we were okay with suffering. But we're not. When trouble hits, our natural response is to say, no, this is wrong. This isn't the way things should be.
Oh, that's not right.
And so we should rage against the dying of the light, and we shouldn't be okay with evil. And actually, Jesus invites us to have a problem with suffering. Because before we come to Jesus, we don't have a problem. Not like we should. Here are the two natural responses people have to suffering in the world: karma and chaos.
If you believe in karma, you say there is a moral grain to the universe, and if you go against it, you're going to get splinters. And there's something very attractive in that view. The Bible too speaks of a moral law that is God's own unbreakable law. But if you believe in karma, you believe that justice is always meted out in this world. So if you're suffering, in the end, it's your fault. Maybe you brought the suffering on yourself, or maybe an ancestor did, or you in a former life. But if you're suffering, karma will tell you that it is deserved. With karma, there's no such thing as unjust suffering. The universe makes sure that everything is just. Therefore, whatever is, however painful it is, it's right. It can't be wrong. Karma solves the problem of unjust suffering by saying there's no such thing.
When suffering hits, the karma idea seems attractive because it seems to offer an explanation for the pain. But if we buy into it, then we no longer have the problem with suffering that we should have. So let's go to the other natural reaction to suffering: chaos. In the West, we tend to gravitate towards this answer. If suffering hits, we conclude that it was just random.
Just saying what comes into the top of my head, like it's just random. Random.
That's what it feels like, at least. Cruelly chaotic. But if everything is random, nothing is really wrong. Richard Dawkins once said, "The universe we observe has precisely the properties we should expect. If there is at bottom no evil and no good, nothing but blind, pitiless indifference."
If Dawkins is right, he's kind of solved the problem of evil by saying there's no such thing. There's no problem with evil anymore in Dawkins's universe.
You're not quite evil enough. You're quasi-evil. You're semi-evil. You're the margarine of evil. You're the Diet Coke of evil. Just 1 calorie, not evil enough.
The issue with the chaos position is that, once again, it doesn't have a problem with evil. And we ought to have a problem with evil. We know that it's wrong, wrong with a capital W. But nothing is wrong if everything's random.
So while karma or chaos may seem attractive, we should realise that neither of these positions give us the problem we need or the solution we crave. But Jesus does. He's the God who comes down into a suffering world and stands against disease, decay and death. When he comes to Lazarus' tomb, he gets angry. He doesn't make peace with evil and suffering. He affirms our sense that these things shouldn't be. But he doesn't just shake his fist at evil and suffering. He does something about it. He raises Lazarus from the dead, and within weeks of that miracle, he walks out of his own tomb, pioneering a solution to suffering for the whole world. Our response to suffering is not simply limited to karma or chaos. There is a third option: Christ. With him, we have the problem with suffering we all need. And next time, we'll see that with Christ, we have the solution to suffering that we all crave.
Just saying what comes into the top of my head, like it's just random. Random. Ooh. Ooh. There's a picture of New York. There's a picture of New York. There's a big, fat, crazy picture of New York. I'm just New York, freestyling. There's a picture of New York. Freestyling. Sometimes when I freestyle, I lose confidence.